Welcome to the Grow and Glow podcast. I'm Sofea, the founder of Grow and Glow Mama and your host. This is a safe space where we have real and honest conversation about motherhood, mental health, and everything in between. We talk about the struggle, the win, and the moment that shape us. Because when mother grows, family grow. Let's dive in and grow together. Welcome to another episode of Grow and Glow Mama podcast, where we got real about motherhood, wellness, and everything in between. I'm Sofea Mastan, your host for today. And today's episode is all about redefining self-care. Because let's be honest, self-care isn't always about the bubble bath and spa days. Sometimes it's about having that 5 minutes to drink your coffee while it's still hot, setting boundaries, or even knowing your little one's nutrition is taken care of. And that's why we're excited to have this conversation with Ilani, a mother of one beautiful boy, who truly understands the beauty and challenges of self-care. And this episode is empowered by Little Blossom, because when your little one is nourished, you can take a breeze too. So I invited Ilani today because I was amazed that she said no to me. Because I'm the kind of person that always say yes. But then when I met her for the first time, we had a breakfast, I think. And then you were telling, when I was telling you about let's collaborate, and then you were like, oh, I don't think I have the mental capacity to do it. So I was like, whoa. I was taken aback because in my head, like, you can say no. And I'm not offended because I kind of like respect, like, oh, okay, you know your boundaries, you know your limit and all that stuff. And you were talking about your health too. And you met a doctor and all these things. So I'm just like, okay, I need to have her for my podcast because I need to learn how to say no. Because I think that that's one of the things that you can do to actually have your mental state to be, good, because you're a mom and you're a wife and you're also a human being. So you need to say no. And I feel like the hustle culture has been so widely advertised that we sometimes think, oh, we need to be as such. Yeah. So let's start with something fun first. If you had a whole day just for yourself, no responsibilities, no kids, how would you spend it?
Oh, I would spend it in bed reading my books.
Oh, nice. I love that.
Maybe have a cup of tea.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I would probably go out into the garden and just like get some sunshine.
Oh my God. So zen, right? You see, I love that about you. You always make us think that because to me, for me, last year was such a hectic thing. So I'm always like, do this, do that, say yes. Every day there's meeting. My calendar, I feel like I want to vomit looking at it. But because of you saying no, it's so weird that one conversation with a person that you just met could change your whole perspective in life, and you did that.
Aww.
So you bring an impact to me in a lot of ways. So I'm very, very excited that you just said that you say yes to this podcast, and also that you say just now, oh, just a cup of tea, and that's to me it's self-care, that kind of thing.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
A pleasure. As moms, we always talk about the chaos, but what's one small everyday moment that makes you feel like, yes, I've got this?
Oh my gosh. I think, at the moment when it happens, it feels hard. But usually when I can stay regulated when my son is just like acting up. Because, he would be screaming or crying or like hitting. And then obviously like I'm not happy about it. But then when I manage to stay calm and like regulate my own emotions, doesn't mean I'm happy. But it just means that I'm trying my best to like not
Scream.
Not raise my voice. Exactly.
But that's good. That's so refreshing to hear.
Yeah.
Like, I think moms don't see that as a win.
Yeah, it's so hard. Yeah. Honestly, it's really hard. Like, I've lost my cool, like, a lot of times. So whenever I do manage to stay calm, I feel like, okay.
Who is this person?
I can do this. Obviously, it doesn't happen all the time, but, we're all just, like, trying our best.
We're humans, yeah. But it's good. I think this is a reminder to all moms that yes, we all scream. We all are not the gentle parenting kind of mom. Sometimes we're like we don't have our cool, and it's okay. But if we have that, I probably can count probably out of 10, maybe 2 times that I can stay calm. But it's very hard to actually do it.
Yeah,
you're very like everywhere. Like you want to calm your kids down, then they're screaming, then you scream at them, then you feel bad. It's a whole cycle.
It is.
That's why we have this podcast today, because whenever we talk about self-care, it's always about going for spa or mani-pedi, or like even eat in a restaurant by yourself kind of thing. But actually, when you hear the term self-care, in your own opinion, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
I think on the surface, it's things like, doing your manicure, pedicure, getting a massage. But for me, self-care is a lot of different things, but mainly communicating my needs and setting boundaries, learning how to say no, taking care of my physical health, and really like showing up even though I don't feel like doing it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, like those are the things that pretty much define self-care for me. And also prioritizing my relationship with Allah, because I feel like that is very essential to a Muslim woman's self-care.
I feel like that gives you so much like Zen. For me personally, spiritually, when you have that moment for yourself, like some people have yoga.
Yeah.
Some people might have like meditation. But for me, it's that praying that 5 times a day that makes me feel, that's a moment of me and the Creator, and I feel so calm.
Yeah, because I feel like, as a woman, like we wear so many hats.
Correct.
We're a mom, a wife, daughter, friend. And for you, like you run your own business, there's so many hats that we wear. And some things are just like out of our control. And then I feel like when we really incorporate our faith into our self-care routine, it helps us to kind of learn to rely on Allah and just kind of like know that we can't do everything and that, but we're in good hands.
Correct. It's like
or in the best hands.
Yeah, it's all written already. So we need to calm down. Like sometimes it's nice to think. When I was younger, my mom always said to me like, "Oh, you have Allah, like like trust in Allah." But throughout my teens or even my young adult life, I'm always like, okay, what does that mean? But when I become a mom or when things get really tough, you go back to Him and then you feel calm. Yeah. So I really think that people don't talk about this enough, or people will say like, yeah, okay, but you're religious, but I mean, you're a Muslim, so of course you can think like that. But I think that people in whatever religion that they're in, they can always go back to their Creator and like, think about, maybe go back to there and sit down and just, I don't know if you watched the scene in Eat, Pray, Love when Julia Roberts just doesn't know what to do and she's not even a religious person. She just sit there and talk to God. So like I think that would makes us feel like more calmer. Sometimes you don't know who to talk to, but talk to Him is like the best.
Yeah, exactly. And like there are certain struggles that really like in the depths of your heart that no one else can understand. Yeah. And like at the end of the day, you're just like, oh my gosh, like I don't know what else to do. And like I have no one else to talk to. Like no one understands. But like that Allah understands. Yeah. And He's closer to you than your jugular vein. Yeah. So it's very comforting, I feel.
Yeah. I love that you said that. It's really, really nice to actually talk about that. I think it's not talked about enough. Yeah. Yeah. We always say like, write in your journal or this and that. But at the end of the day, when you take a step back, people always say, okay, take a step back, breathe. In everything that you do, right? I think people forget to breathe. Yeah. Like they always get like, oh my God, I don't know. I'm so stressed out with motherhood. I don't know what to do. Or if problems come after like stress and all this thing, I don't know what to do. And you just breathe and then you get a lot of answers. Like for me, I think I've been praying a lot about like, oh, what am I doing with life? Like, what am I chasing? And I met people like you who say things like that. And I feel like that's an answer. Like, okay, she said no, I can say no too. That kind of thing. So that helps with my mental health. I know in a lot of, maybe when people do not understand what I'm going through, they wouldn't see like, how is that a big thing? But it's a big thing for me.
Right.
Yeah. Like to me, it's something that is like, oh, I will be thankful forever, because sometimes it's not about giving things. It's not about being there for each other, but it's sometimes about just, it's amazing how saying no could bring such a good impact to your mental health. And I feel like a lot of mom cannot say no.
Do you feel like you have to please people sometimes?
Yes. I always tell people this. I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah. I'm a recovering people pleaser.
Yes. I think I'm recovering now. I have been saying no.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I don't know why we always want to people please. And even though we say no when we're recovering, you feel bad.
You do? Yeah. You know, honestly, when I texted you last week,
You feel bad. I can feel it in the WhatsApp. That's why I told you, like, it's okay. Get well soon.
Yeah, I appreciated that. No, I was like, I was worried. I actually asked my husband this, like, oh, is Sofea gonna hate me?
Oh my God. But that's how I would think about it, though.
Kind, but I feel like those are the thoughts that goes in a recovering people pleaser's mind. Like, because we always want to take care of other people, and it comes from a good place. And I feel like learning how to say no, it feels weird and uncomfortable, but I realize that the more I communicate my needs, like people understand. Like people are very understanding. And if they don't understand,
then they're not meant to be in your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I really feel that when we say no to certain things, we are saying yes to other things. So for example, if I say no to meeting up with friends or work or like a meeting, or I have to reschedule it, it probably has a good reason, and it's my way of saying yes to prioritizing my health and resting, because I know that I will be able to show up better once I've had my rest.
Yeah.
So whenever you say no, think about what you're saying yes to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you won't feel as bad. I really hope this, what we see, because I have seen a lot of moms talk to a lot of them, and a lot of them always think about others, whether it's their kids, whether their husband. They might not be a people pleaser to friends, but they might be a people pleaser to their husband or their kids. And I really hope this conversation actually helps mom who's listening, because this will help you a lot. Like, I'm not that old. I'm only in my 30s, but I feel like I learned a lot, because I feel like my mom's generation, my mom still struggle with people pleasing. Like sometimes I now tell her, like, you need to stop people pleasing. Like, regardless of like how you say yes or you say no, people will still be unhappy if it's not their way. So sometimes it affects her. It affects her stress, and she hasn't been sleeping. Yeah. And I said to my husband, like, I want to say no, even though people dislike me after, or there's people who can't accept it. Like sometimes it's family members who can't accept it. Like when I say, oh, I don't want to go to this place, for example, they're like, oh, you're always rejecting. You know, that kind of thing. So like sometimes, you can't avoid family, of course. It's your family members. So then I was always telling my husband, but it's okay. If I'm happy, if my mental state is happy, then my children will be happy too, and they will grow up being, adults that is also happy with their life, and they can say no, and they won't stress out, and they won't develop autoimmune disease. But it's true. I see a lot of like all these Instagram posts, TikTok of doctors, psychologists saying that most autoimmune disease comes from stress that was suppressed for so long.
Years and years of chronic stress.
Yes, years and years. And sometimes you don't even know you're going through stress. Sometimes you just, saying yes because you're making that people happy. So as a mom, it's very, very important for us to know when to take a step back. That's why this self-care episode is so important to me, because I feel like a lot of mom always think about them last.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it needs to be a balance lah.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we have responsibilities, to our kids and our husband and our family. But there also needs to be a balance of us knowing not to push ourselves too
Yes.
much and really like just communicating our needs. But then that also comes to like being aware of what we need. So if we are not aware of like, okay, this is too much for me, then we can't communicate that. So yeah, I feel like
it's true. Balance is the word.
Yeah, you really need to balance kan.
Yeah, because takkan lah we also cannot lah just okay, I want to self-care myself and not think about our responsibilities.
Yeah.
Like balance like okay, maybe maybe that week is too much for you, so you need to take one day to just take a step back and like say no, or like just lie down and like just be lazy for one day. It's okay to do that, because when you talk about self-care, right, it's always about spa day, but why do you think it's always associated to that? Why is it from like whenever we say, oh, do you do like self-care? Oh yeah, I go for a mani-pedi. Why do you think that when people think about self-care, it's always that, the surface? They never think bawa tu.
It's probably like all the marketing that has been pushed to us, like in the media, right? Like in the movies and the shows. And then also this like, what do they call it? Like capitalistic society. Because like, all those things are like, it's businesses. Like,
so true.
Yeah. So they market it as like self-care. Like, when you get this pedicure, when you get this massage, like you're gonna feel better.
That's so true. It's just like
and then you buy into it.
Yeah. Like, okay, if I do my mani-pedi, it'll make me feel better. Like,
but I mean, okay,
it does.
Honestly, it does.
It does.
I'm not gonna lie. I do love my massages.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fine if people want to do that. Like that's great. But also to supplement that, like we should do other things.
Yeah. The massage will help, like you say, surface level.
Yes.
But in depth, in the long term, sometimes taking a step back is also good as a mom, as a woman, as an adult human being. So like now I want to talk more of the emotional and physical aspect of self-care. How do you personally take care of your emotional well-being as a mom?
That's a great question. So one of the things that I've really struggled with is mom guilt, of course.
Okay.
So I have been trying very hard to reframe the thoughts that I tell myself, because I feel like as moms, we tell a lot of scary tales to ourselves. Things like, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't rest, I don't deserve to take a break. But lately, I have been telling myself that when I'm resting, it's good that I'm resting. I need this rest. I need to take a break. I will be able to show up better for myself once I've had some rest. And I will be able to be a better mom to my son once I feel rested. And I think it has taken me a very long time. My son is 3.5 years old now. I used to always have like these scary tales and like really spiraling thoughts about like I'm a really bad mom. Yeah. So I'm slowly trying to change that. Yeah.
That's nice. I think the mom guilt is something that all moms struggle.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've met a mom who has a teenage daughter and she's still struggling. And I feel bad too. Like, so my daily routine is always like, okay, morning, school pick up, drop off, and then I'll spend time a little bit with the kids, dinner. And now I'm into pickleball. So I'm always playing pickleball at night. And like, okay, they'll go for bedtime, but I go pickleball every night. But I feel guilty. But then I always say to myself, but it's good. I'm working out. I'm sweating. And I spend time with my husband. So it's kind of like a date night every night.
That's nice.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, it's okay. But you still have that thoughts in your head like, oh my God, like you leave your kids every night. And sometimes I understand my mom, whenever I call my mom, like, oh, I'm going for pickleball. You always go for pickleball? How about your kids? Like, I understand as a grandmother that she's like so in love with her choo-choo.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she make me feel guilty by saying that. I'm like, it's okay. But then she's also like, but it's good that you're,
Yeah,
you're
honestly.
you're like exercising. But then again, you leave your kids. So like you get so confused. Like I love my mom, but sometimes she's like, she wants it for me, but she also feels bad for her choo-choo, that kind of thing. So as a mom, I feel the same way as you. And I feel like mom guilt is something that is a big topic. And I don't know how people can like tackle that.
Yeah, I feel like it is an ongoing struggle that moms just have to keep on taming.
Yeah.
Because like I also have friends with older kids and they still feel guilty about certain things.
Yes.
And about you going to pick a ball, like honestly, I really admire that because it's a really great way because you are prioritizing your health, you are exercising, you're getting like that dopamine, and it's so good.
Yeah.
And one thing that I noticed is that kids, when they see parents exercising, they want to do it too.
That's so true.
My husband loves running, and my son, whenever he sees my husband run, he'll be like, I want to go running too. And like sometimes my husband will like work out at home. He'll be like, I want to lift weights too.
So cute.
Yeah.
But it's true though. I mean, your kids do mimic whatever the parents does. And I remember last year, I am very like a couch potato. Work, go back in the room and like just lie down. And it's not good for the kids. But my daughter, who is 7 now, is a competitive swimmer.
Oh, wow.
She swim. I actually got inspired by her because she swam 45 laps, 60 laps, and she won a medal when she was just 6 years old.
Mashallah, that's
I know
amazing.
she's such an inspiration to me. When people say, who's your inspiration? I always say it's my daughter Mariam because she's like, she'll swim. And like 45, even though she gets tired, but she still swim. And she's like, I want to go swimming, mommy. I always tell her like, do you want to? I don't want to push her so hard. I do want to swim. And if she doesn't go for swimming, she'll be like, why am I not going swimming today?
Aww.
So when she swim, I was telling my husband, we need to be like Mariam. We need to exercise. We are such lazy parents. We need to exercise. So we did. And when we do pickleball, now my 2-year-old is saying, Mommy, I want to go pick a ball. Like
So
she also
cute.
says she wants to go play pickleball. So it's true that when we take up healthy sport, our kid will also do it. So when we go for exercise, please do not feel guilty.
Yeah. And I feel like kids, they need movement.
Sure,
They really
correct.
do. And it helps them to like sleep better and like it helps with their tantrums and all that, especially when they're younger.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep it up.
Yes.
Don't feel guilty.
Don't feel guilty. Correct. Setting boundaries is very important, like part of self-care because you mentioned about like, saying no and knowing to stop and all these things. What are some boundaries you've learned to set for yourself, whether it's with work, family, or even like for social media?
Yeah, I feel very strongly about this, and it's something that I am still working on myself. But setting boundaries and communicating my needs, basically knowing and listening to my body. Because whenever I say no, it's because I feel like it's too much for me. And I can kind of like anticipate. And I know myself better now compared to before. Because I used to really push myself and just like, it doesn't matter when I'm tired, I'm exhausted. I'll just like keep pushing through. But I realized that it's really taking a toll on my body and it's too much stress.
Correct.
And now that I know, okay, this is a bit too much, I will just say like, hey, I am feeling XYZ. I don't feel as good and I have to postpone, or this is not a good fit for me. And, you can say no, but still be kind and still be kind about it.
Yeah.
And most of the time, people are very understanding. And I mean, alhamdulillah, I feel like the people around me are very understanding and kind in that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, I am, of course, I'm like usually a bit scared to do it, but I still do it because I feel like if I push through, I know that it's not fair on myself. So I'd rather not.
But I think we need to find the right people around us in order for us to also move forward to be better. I think one of the things in my 20s that I don't get it is that, okay, everybody can be your friend. But some might not have, they're not bad people. They just do not have the same mindset or the same lifestyle like you. So there's good, bad people in life, but it's also like they might not understand your beliefs. They might believe something else and we believe something else. Doesn't mean what they believe is wrong. It's just that we're not at par. So I realize now in my 30s is Oh, yes, there is some people when I say no, oh yeah, I don't have a problem. Sure, I understand. But there is some people who say no, like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. In front they'll say sure, but behind they're actually annoyed with you. You know, like there is some people who's like that. But nobody is wrong and nobody is right. It's just that we need to find our own people.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know, when you hold a boundary for yourself or your family, it's not on you. It's not your responsibility to like how they react to that boundary.
Correct.
So like however they feel,
it's
on them.
Correct. Yeah, it's not talked about this enough, but meeting a lot of working with a lot of psychologists, a lot of people who is a recovering people pleaser as well. Like a lot of them always say that sometimes when you say no, and that person is reacting a certain way, it's not you, it's just them. So you need to know it's not your fault. Not everything is your fault unless you did something wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So it's also like partners. When we find our life partner, some of my friends, they go through divorce and all these things because they're not aligned. Maybe they're not the people, so they can't live together. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. They're just maybe they're not like group of people that they can live with because it's very hard. They say that sometimes you can be dating for 10 years, but when you live together and you're married, it's a different ballgame. Yeah. So even me and my husband, we've been married 8 years now, and we have still like communication, like there's still this and that. We are aligned. We talk and communicate with each other because it helps with mental health. It helps with self-care. But sometimes you know that you need to always work. Even those people who, you look so compatible, we struggle sometimes to like talk. Even sometimes you want to tell them something about your feeling, but they will suddenly feel like, are you attacking me? Like, why are you saying I'm wrong? But sometimes that's not what we meant as women. We just wanted to talk because we like to talk.
Yeah.
And men are just like quiet.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, no, same. This is something that I struggle with my husband as well. I would say we have pretty good communication, but it's something that I only learned after we got married because, you know, growing up, yes, we had conflict in our family, but I never learned how to navigate that. And one of the best ways to navigate conflict is obviously like communicating with each other. And so after I got married, but I realized like, I could do better with communicating how I feel and like what I need from my husband, and also to like just listen and kind of empathize with things from his perspective.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's always like, you know, when you're like in an argument, you always feel macam, I'm wronged. Like I've been wronged by my husband.
Correct.
And like it's all about me.
It's easier to attack them always.
Yes. Rather than being like, okay, hold on. Maybe I did something wrong as well.
It's true. Yeah, why I tie relationship as husband and wife, because this ties so much with our own self-care. Because sometimes husbands always say, what do? You're at home, you don't do anything. Some husband might not because we don't communicate with them, right? Then the communication is like macam terputus dekat situ. Like you can't even like, they won't understand all that stuff. So husbands' role in self-care is very important too. Like sometimes they can take their time with the kids when we are like, okay, I cannot, my mental load is not, you know, I can't do this now. Even though especially housewives, I feel like they don't have a stop. So husband needs to, if you are, you know, you have a partner at home, so a husband is an important role to help you with your self-care.
Yeah.
Because if they understand, right? And communicating doesn't mean like, they need to understand us. We need to understand them too.
Yeah.
Because if we don't understand them and like, you're saying this is this, but padahal they also have feelings. One of the things I think my mistake is I always feel like he doesn't have feelings.
Yeah.
He's a man, so he can, but actually it's not true. They have feelings and sometimes they can cry and sometimes it's too much for them, and sometimes the responsibility of taking care of us and the children is another level juga.
It is. Yeah. I never realized how much pressure husbands feel to be able to provide for us and our family. Yeah. So I really appreciate I think after I married, baru macam I appreciate my husband more, and like also my dad.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, wow, it must have been so hard for them.
And the guilt that they have, if, for example, if on that day they can't provide, for example, because of something, health or problems at work or something, they might have husband guilt, father guilt also, but they don't talk about it enough. So I wanted to have this podcast to actually say that I always empower moms. I always want to talk about this and that, but sometimes I forgot about the dads. And the dads need this too in order for them to support the moms.
That's true. Yeah. And I do so appreciate, I'm so thankful for my husband. He really has been such a anchor in my, supporting like my mental health and my physical health as well.
Yeah, I think that's a riziki that we have, that husband, because not all men think mental health is something important. I feel like in Malaysia it's niche. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah that they understand.
Correct. That's so nice. But I want to ask you about your schedule though. Are you busy? Are you always busy? How's your schedule like? Or before you moved, because you were in the States, right? But you're not married then.
Yeah.
But when you were married, you were a full stay-at-home mom?
Yeah, so I was living in the States for 6 years and then I moved back to KL. So I took like a career break when I first moved back. And because I was so stressed out with my work, I needed some time to like decompress. Then when I did work in KL for I think close to 2 years. I was in corporate doing talent management for a bit. And then I got pregnant and I gave birth to my son. And then I was like, okay, I want to try to juggle, like corporate mom life. And
so you
had
had
my baby.
You worked.
I did. Yeah, I worked, but it was only for a few months, I think, because after a while I realized that this is so not for me. Because I remember at one point I was like working on a slide deck for the CEO, and it was like in the middle of the night, and I was also breastfeeding my son, like in bed. My husband was sleeping.
So stressful.
It was very stressful. I was like, this is not worth it. Like I was so stressed out, just juggling, and being a first-time mom, and I didn't know it then, but I had really bad postpartum depression and anxiety, and so looking back, I was like, wow, that was like such a wild ride for me, and so I decided that okay, let's take a break from corporate. But yeah, I haven't been back since, and I've just been exploring other things, and I started freelance writing, and then I've just been able to, alhamdulillah, work on projects that really excite me and things that I enjoy.
That's nice.
And one of it is also, hosting community events and just helping like first-time moms.
I like that. You have your Instagram actually help a lot of first-time moms, right?
Yeah.
And you have events sometimes as well. So do follow Ilani Zin on Instagram. But I asked you this because I wanted to ask you a realistic everyday self-care practice that busy moms, so if you remember during your corporate time, that they can try, especially those who feel like they have zero time. Like you say you were like breast pumping and you're like working. Like, do you have any like tips for moms who are still in corporate and are working, or if they're very busy?
Okay. For me, self-care looks a little bit different because I am a planner, so I like to be mentally prepared. So usually the day before, what I would do is I would basically list down the things that I want to achieve or the theme for the next day. So I kind of know, okay, here's my intentions, here's my goals. And that's part of my self-care routine, is just knowing that this is my goal. And I can, whatever comes up, at least I know what I want to work on for the next day, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think that's true because I used to not be a planner. Sometimes I just found out that there's Google Calendar 2 years ago. So I was like messy. Then I realized that, okay, even if you're not a planner, even you're not like, maybe if you're not super organized, but planning actually helps, like to okay, just calm down, breathe. Because in my life, I forgot to breathe. So when I breathe, I'm like, oh, okay. When I breathe, then it makes much more it makes sense. You can think better, you know?
Yeah.
So I think having a planner, mentally prepare yourself for certain things would help you. Maybe, okay, you're busy, so at least you have like 2 minutes to breathe during that day.
And the thing is, like, we have so many things on our list. Okay, for me, whenever I feel overwhelmed, there's too many things, I just do a brain dump. Like literally anything that comes to my mind, I just list it down. Like everything, whether it's work, personal life, whatever. Because, you know, we have a lot of things that's just
sometimes
like
you don't know
in our head.
Yeah, sometimes it's in your head, but then you don't know what is it, but it's in your head. Like it's all a blur.
Yeah. So like when you just have it on a list, it really helps to kind of like prioritize.
Correct.
So for me, like prioritizing is part of self-care.
Correct. Okay, let's talk about support system. Sometimes self-care is about asking for help. How has your support system played a role in your self-care journey?
Alhamdulillah, I have such a great support system. I'm very, very thankful for my family and my husband. And that's one of the reasons why I moved back to Malaysia, because I wanted to be close to my family. And once I gave birth to my son, I realized how hard it really is.
It takes a village.
It does take a village. And I honestly wouldn't be able to raise my son without my family nearby. And one of the examples is that last week I was running late, you know, work was really busy. And so I had to call my brother and ask him to pick up my son from school. And like, you know, being a recovering people pleaser, that's always a bit hard to kind of like ask people for help. But most of the time, you know, they're happy to help if they're available. And if they're not, they will let you know that they can't like help you out. But it's always good to just ask. It doesn't hurt.
Correct.
And it's such a good opportunity for my son to also build that relationship with other caretakers.
I thank uncles and aunties out there for being in our life, because sometimes school pickups and school drop-off is very stressful.
I thought it was just me.
No.
It's so stressful.
I met this one mom as well. She has teens, so 17, 18. She was saying that one of the mental toll for her was, and it makes her like stress sampai dia sakit or something, like, you know, female internal issue. She said that it was the pickup. So at one point, she just fed up. She just hired help to pick up and drop off. Because you see, like Mariam, she started primary. So she has gone to kindy since she was 4. So 4, 5, 6, 7, that's like what? 4 years?
Yeah.
4 years of school. And she has a long way to go to pick up and drop off. Not to mention the jam.
Yes, yeah.
The heat, all these things. So it is a mental toll.
It is. And I noticed that, you know, sometimes I wonder like, oh, what version of Adam am I going to get today at pickup? Is he going to be in a good mood or not? So like, I always have snacks. I'm like, we need a snack. And if I don't have it, he'll be like,
number 1.
He'll be like, can we go to 7-Eleven? I want to get ice cream. I want to get lollipop. I'm like,
Yeah, you can have healthy snacks at Little Blossom.
Oh, yes.
Little Blossom has really healthy snack, and there's 100% like sugar-free.
Oh.
Zara's favorite.
Okay.
Actually,
where are they available?
They're from Singapore, but they're available online. Happy Kiddo, I think Ben's, Publica. So I'll give you some. For you to bring back for your school pickups. But actually, this is very good. So Zara, even Mariam eats this.
Aww.
Like, because it's kind of like chips, but it's healthier. So it's actually good. One of the reason why Little Blossom powered this podcast was because they want self-care for moms. They want to put mom's head at ease when it comes to food, like healthy snacks. Because I think one of the things that mom don't talk about is meal.
Yes, that is a huge stressor. I was just talking to a mom friend about like what snacks should we like have for our toddlers.
Yes, and a lot of actually the food, the snacks out there, even for kids, if you don't read the label properly, there's sugar.
Yeah. It's so stressful.
Correct. So a lot of moms are very particular because we don't feed sugar for the first, I think, for me was 1 year of my kid's life. Yeah. But even then, when they are like 2, 3, 4 years old, I still like, they can have sugar here and they can have their lollipops and all that stuff because, to be honest, we need to be real.
Yeah.
But it's nice to also have the healthier snacks because they like to snack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They snack all the time.
Yeah, mommy, can I have chips? Can I have chips? So like, I don't want to give them the Cheetos and the Lays and those, the chips all often, because sometimes on weekends they'll have it with their cousins.
Yes.
It's like movie night every night, and there's chips everywhere.
Everyone's having them, and when one kid asks for ice cream, and everybody else ice cream.
Correct. Yeah. So it's not healthy in the long term. Especially nowadays with fast food everywhere and all these things. So
I feel like sometimes it's okay lah, but like I completely understand. I honestly, before I became a mom, I never really read the labels. I'm like, how much sugar is in this?
Correct. Like when I was trying to lose weight when I was in my 20s, I read the label a lot. Then what we don't notice also, like all these healthy bars also have sugar.
Yeah. Like they're marketed as healthy, but they're really not that healthy.
And sometimes we're prone to diabetes, weight gain, all these things. So for kids, it's nice to teach them young. Yeah. And when you have healthy snacks like Little Blossoms, for me, especially these veggie sticks and fruity sticks, it helps a lot for me. And the organic brown rice cereal, this actually helps me when Zara was 6 months old, because I do not have help. I have 2 kids. I have a job. Then I remember like, oh my God, I don't know what to feed Zahra. And then I remember they reached out to me and they're like, oh, we want to give you some of this. And they're new at that time. So I gave that and Zahra loved it. But I don't feel guilty because of the labels that they have. So it's very important, because I know moms are very particular. There was time I felt a little guilty having snack time with my children because I can't find healthier options everywhere. Not until I discovered Little Blossom, where they have 100% natural ingredients, no added sugar and salt, and it's halal certified. It gives me that peace of mind, and it's kind of like a parenting win for me. So thank you, Little Blossom, for empowering today's episode and making a lot of parents' life easier when it comes to snack time. Because I was talking about like nourishment and everything, right? So how has being mindful of nutrition helped you feel more in control of your own well-being? So I asked this because I have a lot of friends that talk to me about, when the kid turned 6 months, it's like they started eating, then that's fine. But then there's certain time in that period of time, like maybe they're 1 year old or 2 years old, like one day they don't want to eat anything. And the next day they'll just eat everything. And then like that stresses me out as a mom, because like Zara, sometimes I don't want to eat. I just want nenen. So she'll just drink milk the whole day. And like you feel like, oh my God, there is something wrong. Is the food not nice?
Yeah.
Then they just want to eat snacks. But then snacks are not available that's healthier. So how does that help you? Does that give you that satisfaction if they eat like, a nourished balanced meal?
Oh yeah, definitely. I always feel like meals can be a huge struggle for most moms. And whenever our kids do eat a balanced and healthy meal, it does make us feel like, we're doing a good job and that it's a big win. Because I do struggle with it until now. I completely understand, like there are some days that my son like doesn't want to eat vegetables, but I feel like I try to do like 80% of the time, like try to follow as much as I can to like my values. But the other 20% of the time, I'm like, okay lah, I can't do this today.
Yeah. So I talk about mealtime a lot because it's one of the most important thing in our child's life to have meals. And a lot of moms have so many things in their head that sometimes to think about what to eat is like, even to think about what's to buka puasa to lay or like what's for dinner
is
stressful. So imagine like giving a well-balanced meal for the kids, like it's something that I think takes a mental load as well in our lives. So Little Blossom believes that when a child is nourished, it gives mom a little breathing room, which I agree, because it does help me. Not just because they powered this podcast, because I literally actually use the product for my child. So how do you think that products like Little Blossom help simplify your daily routine and give you space to care for yourself?
I think it's amazing that we have, these like
Products.
options and
Yeah.
products available now, honestly, like I can't imagine how
moms.
it must have been so hard for our moms.
I know.
And like we're so lucky. We're so lucky
Correct.
that we have these options
Spoiled
available.
with choices.
Very.
Yeah, just like you said, Adam goes to when you pick him up, then you're like, oh, okay, I need to prepare snacks. I think a lot of mom has that as their MO.
Yeah,
Prepare
definitely.
snacks.
It's something that all kids need. Like they're hungry all the time because they're growing.
Yeah, they're growing and they're running and energy is used, so they need to fuel themselves up.
And I mean, for me, like I am conscious about like giving him, you know, healthier snacks or healthier options at least, even if he doesn't want it. Like for me to provide that option for him, because you know, then at least I can feel better about myself.
Yes. So thank you, Little Blossom, for creating a product that will make moms actually less stressful, because there's 10 times or 1,000 things that we need to do every day. So what advice would you give to moms who are struggling to make space for themselves?
Oh, wow. I would say you're worth it. Yeah. Just, you know, you've come such a long way and you've been through all the struggles, and you are 100% worth, you know, whatever it is that you want to pursue. And you are worth taking a break if you need it. You are worth, you know, resting if you need that. And just you've been giving so much to everyone else around you. Like, don't forget about yourself. Yeah.
You bring out a baby to your life. So I think you deserve a break. Every once in a while. I think all moms, wherever they are in their stage of the kids, are superhuman. Because I always take for granted my mom when I was younger. But when I became a mom, everything that my mom did just like suddenly clicks and like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. My mommy's like this, or my mom's like this. Like, I didn't appreciate her enough. Or one of the things that somebody told me was, like, the mom might gone through trauma or like, you know, things that they can't talk about, because we have a platform nowadays to talk like this, you know, but our moms might not. And they might keep it to themselves, or they might go through depression, don't even know. They have anxiety and they might not know. And it's not their fault. And you need to learn to forgive.
That's true.
Because sometimes we like to blame our moms. Oh, this is why you are like this. Because your mom gave you this. But actually, to think about it, they do not have a platform to talk about it.
It's just, it wasn't like in their generation. And like my mom, she actually doesn't remember much. Like sometimes I would ask her questions, and she would tell me like, oh, I don't remember. And I realized like, you know, that's one of the body's way of like defending itself. That's like a defense mechanism. So I can't imagine how hard it must have been for her. And I think when we become moms and parents ourselves, baru we realize that, wow, this is really tough.
It's true.
And like, it really made me empathize with my parents about how
makes me love them even more.
How they really tried their best.
So true. They did. They tried their best in their own way
with what they knew.
And being parents, I know they always say like, oh, when you become a mom, then you'll understand. But I really do understand, and I sometimes want to hug them a little tighter because of their sacrifices for us. And it must be harder then, because nowadays we have social media, we get to talk to our friends, we get to even talk on social media, and people sometimes comment, but they don't get to do that. They sometimes maybe have postpartum depression and they're just in the house by themselves. Taking care of little kids. We
have access to communities, right? Even though physically we might be a bit far, but like we feel that sense of belonging in that community, 100%.
So true. Lastly, if there's one self-care ritual that has been a game changer for you, what would it be?
One self-care ritual. I would say, communicating my needs and learning how to say no.
Please say no, guys. We're advocating saying no in this episode.
And I feel like that has been helping me to prioritize what's important in my life. And that's part of self-care that's so like underrated.
Please, like, I mean, yes, go for your mani-pedi, go for your massage, but don't forget to stop or take a break or take a breather when you need to, because you deserve it. Yeah. One of the things that I learned a lot from pickleball. Okay, I'm talking about pickleball a lot. But my husband always say this. I always lose a game. And every time I lose a game is because I never take a breather. So when I take a breather and I actually like focus and like take a step back, like it's not a rushing game. It's not like tennis or badminton. So when you take a breather, I can win. But when I don't, that's when I like, okay, it's everywhere. The ball will be everywhere. I'll be out, this and that. So I take that like in life as well. Because I look at myself, I'm always a kalang kabut person. I'm always like clumsy, like this and that. But pickleball has taught me a lot in that sense. And I'm good at cooking, but I suck at baking. So these past few days, because of pickleball, like I have to take a breather, right? So whenever I do baking, because baking are more like, oh, you need to measure properly.
Yes.
You need to be more patient. But I'm not. So with cooking, you can champa everything. So when I take a breather, two of my things that I did, banana bread and a sticky toffee pudding, it happens and it's beautifully done.
Aww.
So this taught me that in life, you will need to always take a step back to take a breather, and you deserve everything that you feel like you deserve, because nobody can love you more than yourself. We tend to forget that. We always say, oh, we need to love our children, love our husband, love our parents, love everybody around us. But we never say love ourselves. And whenever we think that, oh, loving ourselves, we always think, oh, it's selfish. But it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
You're worth it. You're worth loving yourself.
That's why you are in this world. That's why Allah chooses you to be a mom. Allah chooses you to be a wife and a daughter, because I think that you are worth it and you can be those things.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you, Sofea.
Thank you so much for, like, I really appreciate you coming down. I really appreciate you saying no to me. Initially. Saying no when we first met, and I say, let's collaborate. And at that time, I don't think I can do it this time. She didn't reject me at all. You just say no at that time because it was heavy for you. And that was actually an inspiration to me. So whenever you think that saying no, you feel bad, think that you actually changed someone's life. So I hope it helps another people pleaser too. Another people pleaser. But yes, I really love this conversation. It was such a heartfelt conversation, I feel like. Thank you for sharing your experience and reminding us that self-care is really not just about the surface. It's also in depth. It's about saying no. It's about knowing your limits. And sometimes it's about the small, consistent things in life that we do to fill our cups. And to all the mamas listening, remember, when you take care of yourself, you're better equipped to take care for those you love. A huge thank you also to Little Blossom for empowering today's episode and for making mealtime stress-free for moms everywhere, because when our little ones are nourished, we can take a moment to breathe too. So thank you, everybody. I hope to see you again in the next episode. Bye. Thank you so much for joining me on the Grow and Glow podcast. I hope that today's conversation reminded you that you're not alone in this journey. Remember, when mothers glow, families grow. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and follow us at Grow and Glow Mama for more honest conversation. Until next time, please take care and always keep glowing.